how to get outside your comfort zone, how to cure your addiction to your comfort zone. That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, please allow me to inhale the validation you send my way. Please send said validation by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can get brand new videos right when they come out. Whatever platform you are viewing this video on, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Do whatever the platform requires to send me validation. Okay, how to get outside of your comfort zone. How to cure your addiction to being inside of your comfort zone. That's the number one thing that you have to understand, is that you are actually addicted to being comfortable. You are addicted to feeling average. You are addicted to being in this low level of malaise, low level of stasis. The first step that you have to make to get outside of your comfort zone is to pretend, or to stop pretending like you actually want to get out of it, right? So we often talk about how bad we want to change. We talk about how bad we want to get outside our comfort zone. We talk about how bad we want to make these changes, how bad we really want to break out and set ourselves free, but we really don't. We secretly love clinging to that comfortable identity that we have, and we love living in this comfortable lifestyle that we have come accustomed to living, and we slowly but surely have been grinded away into believing that anything other than total emotional, physical, financial, and safety comfort levels is to be frowned upon. Like, it's politically incorrect now to call people soft. It's politically incorrect to offend people. We are just becoming this kind of soft, gelatinous society where, in terms of relative comfort, like, I would love the people in the 16th century to time travel and look at what we're complaining about. I would love for, an 18-year-old kid who signed up to become a fighter pilot in World War II listen to people like you and I talk about our comfort, talk about microaggressions, talk about being offended by comments. Like, this is the world that we're living in. And the number one thing that you have to do to get outside of this is not to fall for the trick. Do not fall for the societal brainwashing that is going on right now. This is why I tell people to avoid the messages that you get in the news, avoid the messages that you get in the media. Look at the way that they are constructing a lot of the narratives in society. Everything is geared towards the idea that if your feelings are harmed in any way, you have a right to be outraged. That it is okay for you to be mediocre in every aspect of your life. Now, I'm not saying that, certain things about the media are not right. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have positive self-images regardless of who you are, but think about it. Think about the narrative that they're pushing, that for some reason it is vain or arrogant to want to be in good health, that it is somehow selfish or greedy to want to put your neck out there and start a business to make money, that anything you do where if you try to step outside of your comfort zone and do hard things, you're looked down upon, but you're applauded if you just want to sit on your ass and do nothing. Everyone is looking for a handout in 2020. And actually, not everyone, not you, because people like you and I are looking to level up, but you have to understand that you're being influenced by this messaging at a level that is so deep that you have become identified with your captor. So I like to make the analogy that a lot of people are in sort of a Stockholm Syndrome with the societal machine. You're being brainwashed by the societal machine, but you've been held captive for so long that you've started to identify with your captor. So you have to stop falling for the messaging. You have to stop being soft. Like, you have to understand that it's not necessarily always to your advantage to feel good. Like, if your life kind of sucks, like if you're out of shape, if you're broke, if you are working at a job you hate, if your relationships are unstable, if you don't have a level of contentment, if you're not learning, if you're not doing things to push yourself, why necessarily should you be happy? Why should anyone pat you on the back? why should you feel content if your life isn't going so well? Like, one of the steps to fixing your life is actually fixing your life, right? So I wrote an article about this, and I got a fair amount of flack and pushback for some of the things that I said. People got really angry with me, but I talked about different things where sometimes the remedy is to like just fix your life. So are there some people who suffer from clinical depression, chemical imbalance? Sure, absolutely. But sometimes people go through depressed periods of their life, levels of melancholy, because they're not doing anything with their life, because their life is stagnant. And all of a sudden, if they were to start lifting weights, reading, getting a side project, getting involved, leaving the house, going to meet people, all of a sudden, their depression would melt away. But it's politically incorrect to say that. It's politically incorrect to say that in order to change your life, you should shake up your routine and get outside of your comfort zone. It's politically incorrect to talk about the fact that in relative terms compared to previous generations, we have an abundance of comfort. Even if you're working class, which in relative terms can be still difficult. Now, don't get me wrong, but compared to past generations, you're still living quite a comfortable life. And we understand that at a deep level. We understand that our lives are relatively comfortable, that we do actually, for the most part, especially if you're middle class, you understand that for the most part, you have a lot of the things you need, but you're still not happy. So that's where the outrage comes from. We more or less have all the things we need, but we still are not feeling those feelings of contentment. And where do those feelings of contentment come from? They don't come from mindless entertainment. They don't come from pleasure. They don't come from going out to drink on the weekends. They don't come from all of the things that the societal narrative pushes on you. That doesn't come from name brands. It doesn't come from clothes and cars and homes. You have all the toys. You have all the brands, but you're still not happy. What really makes you happy is having the sort of meaning that comes through growth. You have to put yourself into challenging situations. And you have to understand that in order to put yourself into those challenging situations, you have to understand that you love your laziness. You love your laziness because you're able to make sense of your life when you are not living up to your full potential, because you haven't been living up to your full potential for so long that you have an identity built around that. And in order to go out and challenge yourself and step outside of your comfort zone, you'd have to admit to yourself that you have been wasting your time for a long time. See, there's that cognitive dissonance that comes with admitting that you've been screwing up, that comes with admitting that you have been failing to be the person that you are truly meant to be. So you have to make that realization if you're ever going to step outside and actually start to do things to challenge yourself. And when you're challenging yourself, this is basic kind of self-improvement stuff, which my whole channel is basic self-improvement stuff that I'm just trying to bang into your head to get you to act. Because remember, no guru, no YouTuber, no writer can force you to take action. Eventually, you just kind of have to buck up and do it, right? But how do you get outside of your comfort zone? You do things that are a little bit at your edge, right? Let's say you're shy, you want to get out of your comfort zone. You go out in the street, you make eye contact with people and say hello. You want to start a business, you want to get outside of your comfort zone. You read one article about putting together the business. Then maybe the next day, you start browsing domain names for a website. Then maybe a couple weeks later, you put together the website. Maybe a month from now, you go out onto LinkedIn and you find 10 people to pitch your services. Like you edge and stretch. And there's a balance that you want to get where you're not overdoing it. So you want to do an analogy of like weightlifting. If you want to get stronger, it comes through a breakdown of the muscle tissues that rebuild themselves into stronger muscles. But you're not going to go and put 3 plates on the bar the first day you go to the gym, because you will crush your trachea trying to bench press 315 pounds if you've never been to the gym. So you know how to add a little bit of weight, and a little bit of more weight. And that's the same analogy that goes with getting outside of your comfort zone. Do things that make you feel uncomfortable. In the article, I talked about sort of little challenges that you can do to step outside of your comfort zone and kind of manufacture an environment of tougher challenges, because you really don't have much in modern society. So I suggested things like taking cold showers, like going for a hike, like going for a run, doing strenuous exercise, filling out a 1,000-piece puzzle, trying to write a long blog post. Just do something to stimulate your mentality. Trying to learn a new instrument. You want to become uncomfortable with, or you want to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I've come to a certain point in my life where I'm doing new things all the time, like starting this YouTube channel. I put together a massive campaign for the new book that I have coming out, where I reached out to hundreds of people, put together crazy campaigns, working with assistants. I'm trying to scale out my business, and it, causes a lot of frustration inside of my mind, but then that frustration gets converted into growth, and then you're a little bit stronger each time. You're like that muscle that breaks down and you become stronger each time. So stepping outside of your comfort zone, it's a super cliche thing, right? Everyone's heard about it, but I really look at kind of the upsides and downsides of doing things, and I just try to paint that picture. It's like, what's the downside of being inside of your comfort zone? Well, if you take something like, even from the physical aspect, a sedentary lifestyle where you don't move can kill you, literally. Sitting down for 8 hours a day, not getting any exercise, even though you're technically not doing anything, it can kill you. And the same thing happens when it comes to this whole life purpose and meaning thing. Like, you see people who, they stay inside of their comfort zone forever and ever, and they slowly start to like fade away and die. And it's not that they're unhappy, but like you see this person where they're so inside of their comfort zone, you can tell that at a deep level they're beaten and defeated. They kind of talk like this, like, oh, work was great today, kind of moving up well in the company. Yeah, just get some great vacation days this year. Yeah, we're gonna go down to Aruba and get back, and everything's kind of going great. And you can just hear a little bit of that, just like soul is dead in their voice. You see the people walking down the street, they're just soulless eyes, and I don't know. I kind of always have the same theme in my videos. I'm like, you're being a little bit dramatic, or are you being a little bit hyperbolic? And no, I'm not. It's this big elephant in the room, big long running joke that we all know that, like, for the most part, like, we're just full of BS and we're not doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, and we know it. And the less you step outside of your comfort zone, what you do, it makes you kind of slowly hate yourself a little bit, because you know the benefits of getting outside of your comfort zone, and you know that there are things deep down you're supposed to be doing, and then when you don't do them, you break an agreement with yourself. And the downside of breaking an agreement with yourself is, you're the person who's supposed to be looking out for you more than anyone else. You care about yourself more than anyone else. You operate every single day as if you are the center of the universe. And you are so self-centered, so self-absorbed, so focused on yourself, and still you can't even bring yourself to help yourself and do the things that you know you're meant to do. That's what is like the major mental blow. Like, you care about yourself a ton, and still you ain't doing nothing for yourself. So that's what breaking your agreements does. And it's just sort of a slow death that I see people live. And, this year, 2020 and beyond, I'm not hedging anymore. I'm calling things exactly as I see them, and this is what's going on. This comfort bubble that we're living in is causing people's souls to slowly die, and they understand that. They understand that at a deep level, and that's what is being manifested into all of these weird, negative, outrage, this kind of culture that we're living in right now. Everyone is asleep at the wheel, and to cope with that, to compensate with that, it manifests itself in all this outrage and all this political infighting and all of this kind of BS that really doesn't matter. But we have to focus on that, because staring in the mirror and realizing that there's some things we need to do to get on with this life are going to be difficult. Like, that's really the dichotomy that we're living through, and most people never make the right choice. Most people never make the choice to step outside of the comfort zone. I don't know if you're going to make that choice, but I can tell you, after years of staying outside of my comfort zone, you start to show disdain for being comfortable. Like, you'll start to not like being comfortable. You'll start to actually not like sitting still and doing nothing. Like, I can't even bring myself to watch a TV binge marathon anymore. I can't do it. I feel like I just feel too much like a lazy ass where I just cannot do it. So that's the fortunate thing about getting outside of your comfort zone. The more you do it, you'll actually want to avoid being inside your comfort zone, and growth will become your default state of being. So start doing it today. Posted this on January 7th is the date. Still early, still have those waves of motivations for New Year, so go and get it done. Okay! You 2.0 is a book that will help you get outside of your comfort zone. If you look in the description, there'll be a link for this book, and there'll also be a link to pre-order my new book, Real Help, An Honest Guide to Self-Improvement, which is coming out in exactly 1 week, so go ahead and check that out. Or if you've seen this post January 14th, you can click on that same link and get the book right away. Okay, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can get brand new videos the moment they come out. All other platforms, please love, like, and accept me. Namaste, my friend. I will see you on the next video.